This is Essential Elements for Cello, page 5. We're going to learn how to read bass clef. This is your bass clef symbol. It looks like a big fancy F with two little dots on the side of it. And what that tells us is that there's a certain set of notes that go along with the different lines and spaces of these 5 lines called the staff. So if you look really closely, the bottom line is always a G. So if you ever see a note that's on the bottom line of these 5 lines, that will forever and always be a G in bass clef. So we have G, and then the next line up is B, the next line is D, the next line is F, and the top line is A. So the bottom line is G, second is B, third middle line is D, next to the top line is F, and the top line is A. You can remember that by saying, good boys deserve fudge always. Those are the most important ones. Now, if you kind of combine those with line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, you'll notice we're just going up a staircase. So in between G and B is the letter A. And so A is the bottom space. You can see that right over here. And then in between B and D is, of course, C. A, B, C, D, right? B, C, D. So here's your C on that second space. If you continue up from D, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F, in between D and F, those 2 lines, on the space is an E. You can see that right here. And then between F and A, you have a G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So the top space is a G. Now, in music, we only have 7 letters. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then it repeats itself. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'll play that on the piano for you once I get it turned on. But before we go on, let's talk about a couple other things that you'll always see. Following the bass clef, you're going to always see 2 numbers. Usually it's a 4-4. And that tells you that there's going to be 4 beats in a measure, and that a quarter note or a quarter rest gets 1 beat. So you can see that right here. Bass clef followed by a 4-4 sign. So that just tells us that we're in 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. You know all the music that's in 4/4 time. Trust me, most of it is in 4/4 time. Okay, so then we have a double bar line. That always comes at the end of a piece of music. So you'll see that right here at the end of line 6. Okay, so on jumping jacks, we have a bass clef. We have a 4-form time signature. And then it tells us we're going to pluck the D string 3 times. D, 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 rest. Then we've got an A string. A, rest. D, D, A, D, 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 rest. Okay, let's try playing that one. Grab your cello. Okay, oh, I don't need my bow. You're gonna make your L, you're gonna put your thumb on the fingerboard, and you're gonna get yourself ready for your D string. Okay, so jumping jacks goes like this. You can listen once and then play with me the second time. D, 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 rest. A, rest. Whoops, I messed it up. Let me try that again. D, 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 rest. A, rest. D, rest. Now that double bar line at the end, that just tells me the end, like the end of a book, but this is the end of a piece. Okay, let's try playing that together. Get your plucking finger ready. Remember, try to pluck with the squishy part of your first finger. Okay, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 rest. A, rest. D, D, rest. Okay, good. Let's do line 7. Remember, you're going to be rocking from D string up to A string with this elbow. Ready? Line 7. 1, 2, ready, go. D, A, D, rest. A, D, rest. D, A, D, 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 rest. We should have called this the dad song because it spells dad. D-A-D. A couple times, 2 times. All right, now, if you take a double bar line, that means the end, at the end of a piece of music, and you put 2 little dots on the inside of it, that tells you it's not the end, you're gonna take a repeat all the way back to the beginning. So you see that at the end of line 8. You're gonna play it all the way through the line, and then it tells you repeat sign, so you're gonna go back to the beginning and go all the way through it a second time. So let's try line 8. 1, 2, ready, go. D, D, rest, rest. A, rest, rest. D, rest. A, rest. D, A, D, rest. D, D, rest, rest. A, rest, rest. D, rest. A, rest. D, A, D, rest. Now you might have noticed all of those counting symbols underneath. So as a professional musician, we are always thinking not just 1, 2, 3, 4 beats in each measure, but we're actually thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're subdividing the beat. So instead of just playing, like, let's imagine you're in an orchestra. Instead of just playing and keeping 4 beats, we're actually keeping 8, and it makes us much more precise when we're playing together. So this is great for if you're playing duets. So while I'm playing line 8, I'm going to try saying the counting line at the same time. You're going to try playing with me? Here's line 8. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and repeat, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. All right. So if you can, challenge yourself to play like that. So counting out loud, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while playing. If you can do that, you're ready to move on to the Essential Elements quiz, where you're going to write in that counting exactly like you see it on line 8, under line 9. And I'm not going to play that one for you because it's a quiz. Let's turn to page 9. Page 6 is all about the left hand. So the fingers, the fingerings. So a couple things to notice is this is your first finger, this is your second finger, third finger, and fourth finger. Now, as you can kind of see in the little diagram that shows this black diagram with all the strings, your first, second, third, and fourth fingers are all going to be evenly spaced on the string. So it's going to look like this. See that? Oh, there we go. Looks like that. Yeah? So they're going to be evenly spaced. Now, you're going to make the letter C, and then you're going to put that C on the cello. Okay? You might have finger tapes. That's going to be helpful. Your thumb should be right across from your middle finger, and you should feel like you're holding a big Coke bottle. Nice and strong, strong like Superman, kind of bendy like a claw. And you should be playing on the tips of your fingers. You'll not be allowed to have long fingernails with this, with playing cello. So let's take a look at some of the other things it says on this page. So if you want to play an E, you're going to play your first finger on the D string. So you're going to come up, play your first finger on an E, okay? And then if you want to play an F sharp, that's the next note you're going to play most of the songs, you're going to play 3 fingers. You can see those 3 fingers right up here, just like this on your cello. And then if you want to play a G, it's going to be all 4 fingers, just like that. All right, so let's try playing open D, first finger, you make a circle, play on the tip of your finger, and tap it for me. You can kind of hear the pitch that you're going to have. E. Here's your E, okay. Now put down 3 fingers and you're gonna have your F sharp. Now remember, if you've got your 3 down, you're gonna have your 1, 2, and 3 down. It gives you a nice solid block right there. 3 fingers. There's your F sharp. And then you just put down your pinky, your 4th finger, for a G. All right, and you're gonna wanna have a big open spot here underneath of your elbow. So your elbow should not be down here. should be out here. Parents, you have my permission to raise your cellist's elbow. Have fun. Okay, so we have our first song here, is song 10. And if you notice, we are playing all these notes, and they're all in the top space on that bass clef. So that means it's all the exact same note. We don't have to move our fingers or anything. We're just going to put all 4 fingers down, and we should have a G. All right. So good tall seat on the edge of your cello chair, feet wide, flat on the floor. Set up your left hand, so you're got your Coke bottle hand, elbow up. You're gonna go 1, 3, 4. This is your G. Okay, we're gonna pits, which is plucking, line 10. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. 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 All right. Now, if we just lift up our 4th finger, we have an F sharp with our 3rd finger. So 1, 2, and 3 all are down for your F sharp. And that's line 11. Let's go for it. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. 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 Now, a couple things about a sharp. A sharp takes an F up to an F sharp. It's the next highest note that we have. So an F becomes an F sharp. So it brings a sharp brings us up a little bit, and the opposite of a sharp is a flat, and that brings us down. That's a downer. An F sharp brings us up. Okay, so we've got F sharp and G on line 12. So let's get your hand set up. So open, 1, 3, 4. We're going to only be using our 4 and our 3. Take a look at that line. Got 3 G's, rest, 3 F's. Okay, let's give it a shot. Line 12. Oh, 1, 2, ready, go. G, 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 rest. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, rest. G, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, rest. Ooh, there's a repeat. Let's take it. Ready, go. G, 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 rest. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, rest. G, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, G, rest. Now your hand might get tired, and that's completely normal. You've got to build up those muscles, so getting a squeeze ball and squeezing while you are not playing cello would be a really good idea, because you've got to have some good hand and lower arm strength to be able to play cello. We're going to go from now, and I look forward to seeing you next time.